at the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Siddheshvar Paramahamsa Prabhupada, who saved me from a life of materialism, from a life of useless passion, from a life of suffering. And I'm eternally grateful. And I hope that, my only hope is that somehow I can please him and somehow be engaged in Krishna's devotional service in accordance with his teachings. I had a talk. Can I get a few more high mids again? I'm sorry. All right, Bo, that's better. I had a talk the other day with Boying, asking about what I should talk about, because so many of you are so young. Many of the rest of you haven't read very much in terms of scripture. And he told me that I should just stick to the basics. So I went to a website called wisdom.yoga. If you haven't been to that website, you should, because there's a lot there. The sum and substance of all of Prabhupada's teachings are on that website. Wisdom.yoga. Not .com, .yoga. Okay? Google it. Go there. You will have enough to watch and enough to read to last you pretty close to the rest of your life, probably. It's all there. You too. Go. So I wanted to share with you something that I picked out of there. And I hope that you find it as interesting and hopefully inspiring as I did. Sometimes people ask me, either Siddheshvar Das or Gray, how do you join this bhakti yoga religion? How do you join it? What, you have to go somewhere? You have to do some, particular thing, or what? The spiritual science of yoga is not something that you can join. Rather, it is the process of rediscovering our spiritual identity and then living a life based upon that realization. So, this is not a religion. It's not a religion, not in the sense of describing a group of people with a specific set of beliefs. When people talk about religion, generally, they're talking about something that you can change or join, right? You can join the Jewish religion. You can join the Christian religion. You can join the Muslim faith. By contrast, yoga is the process of self-discovery and of cultivating one's love for God and for all living beings. You don't need to join anything. You don't need to declare your allegiance to anyone. In Sanskrit, there is a term which is Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma means our eternal religion. In other words, what is your eternal function? What is your eternal identity? Who are you? And where will you find true happiness? What is your eternal purpose? Not the purpose of this life, not the purpose of this school year. What is your eternal purpose? So, real religion means a process of discovering who you really are and then living your life based upon that realization. Okay? So on the path of Vaishnava Hinduism, the focus is not on joining some particular group or organization, including the Hare Krishnas or the Science of Identity or some other group. Rather, the focus is on the application of the meditation practices and yoga principles in your personal life. So you might ask, well, what is the difference between Sanatana Dharma and a religion? The Sanskrit yoga term Sanatana Dharma refers to that truth which does not change. It doesn't have a beginning. It doesn't have an end. It is the absolute truth eternally. Now, the difference between Sanatana Dharma and what is often referred to as religion is that one can join or be converted to this religion or that religion. And it's also something you can leave, you can quit, or you can get kicked out or excommunicated. For example, maybe you say, I am a Christian. I believe in Christ. And then tomorrow you decide, I think I'm going to convert to being a Muslim. Or a Muslim can convert away from being a Muslim to become a Christian or a Jew or something else. This is not Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is the truth which exists whether you believe it or not. Sanatana Dharma means the eternal truth, the transcendental truth, the truth beyond all the lies. So, Sanatana Dharma refers to that which is. And the person who is on the path of yoga is on a quest to discover this truth. How much of the truth we understand, or how clearly we see the truth, differs for each and every one of us. But the truth does not change. And it doesn't have anything to do with believing it or not believing it. It doesn't have anything to do with something you can join or something you can quit or convert to. A person does not become converted from being a Christian to being a follower of Sanatana Dharma. Nor can a person convert from being a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist to becoming a follower of Sanatana Dharma. As they are leaving one faith and joining another faith. As if they're doing this, this is not the same thing. One cannot join Sanatana Dharma. One cannot quit Sanatana Dharma. Understanding our true identity and understanding your actual relationship, eternal relationship with God, and your natural love for God has nothing to do with joining or quitting any particular faith. Let's say we ask somebody if we can join their religion. Can I join your church? Can I join your religion? Well, they'll tell us that you must undergo some type of conversion or a baptism or a joining process. You must do this and have a ceremony. And the priest will conduct a ceremony and ask us some questions and put his hand on our head. Do you declare your allegiance to Jesus? Or whatever it might be. And we declare our allegiance. And we will declare that we are now believing in that religion and no other. Sanatana Dharma is not like that. It is a whole different thing to engage in the spiritual process and practices that enable us to come to understand our true identity and then apply that understanding of truth of our identity in our life. The truth of our identity, huh? Okay. So, what's that? What is the truth of my identity? We find if we look beneath our body and all of the labels, nationality, gender, color, age, clubs we belong to, the religions or the faiths we practice, the political parties that we may belong to, the family we belong to, the sex we are, all of that. What are we underneath all of that? Our true identity, which does not change, that which cannot change. If something can change, then that is not Sanatana Dharma. That is not our eternal identity. If we can change something, then it's not eternal. It's not our true identity. If we look at everything we think we are, I am who I identify with. Maybe we'll ask, did I have a beginning? Can I have an end? Is there a possible beginning to this or that? And is there a possible end to this or that? For example, you might say, I remember when I became a Christian, or I remember when I converted to Islam. If we can remember that we became something, then that means it's not eternal, because it had a beginning. And if it's something that we can change or we can leave, then it's not eternal. It is not our eternal identity. If we can leave that identity behind, then that identity is not our true self. It's not our true identity. If we can become a Christian and stop being a Christian, or become a Buddhist and then stop being a Buddhist, or convert to some other faith or religion, then that means it is not our true identity. It is not eternal. It is not eternal religion, as it were. It has a beginning and it can have an end. Some believe their true identity is being a man or a woman, but that is not a fact. The fact is that you are spirit, eternal spirit soul. You have a male body or you have a female body. And that body had a beginning, and before you had a male body, maybe you had a female body in a previous life, or maybe you didn't even have a human body. Maybe you had an animal body. Different kinds of bodies, different genders, none of which are who you are. Discovering your real identity, this is the process of yoga. This is the science of identity. The science of discovering the truth of who you are. What is your identity? Your identity is something. What is it? You may think, should I become a Buddhist? Or maybe I should become a Hindu. Should I become this? Should I become that? Should I join this team? Or should I join that religion? Should I join the LGBTQ group? Should I join this political party or that one? All you're thinking of is labels. These labels have nothing to do with who you are. If you can join it, it is not Sanatana Dharma. What is your true identity beyond all the layers? All the things that you can change? Who are you really? This knowledge, this is Sanatana Dharma. Understanding your true identity, your eternal relationship with God, and having that loving relationship with the Supreme Soul. These are the components of living who you are. In other words, we can act on the platform of self-realization. We can lead an enlightened life, knowing who we are. And that is genuine yoga. That is genuine bhakti. And that is genuine spiritual knowledge. You are eternal. You were never born. You will never die. You cannot join this religion or that religion. Following the spiritual path of Sanatana Dharma, this is where all religions point to. They point you in the right direction to try to understand it, but it gets so messed up in so much stuff that you forget, you tend to think that I am this or I am that, and you forget who you really are. So it isn't a matter of joining something. You know, we come here and we chant the name of God. But any religion can do that. You don't have to join a religion to chant the name of God. You don't have to join a religion to live a life of eternal service to God, to understand your eternal relationship with God. This is not a matter of joining anything. This chanting, whether it's Hare Krishna or Radha Madhava or any, God has hundreds and millions of names. And in all of these names, He has given His whole potency. And there aren't even any hard and fast rules for chanting or glorifying the holy names of God. You can do it in a Catholic church. You can do it in a mosque. You can do it in a park or wherever you like. you can do this. You can practice this eternal spiritual. What is it that's eternal about it? It is because we are the eternal servants of God. And when we glorify the name of God, we are engaging in our eternal activity. Only we are engaging in it consciously. Everything that exists for the sole purpose of serving God. That's why a flower exists. That's why a tree exists. That's why you exist. That's why I exist. And it's so much more gratifying, so much more pleasurable to be able to engage in that eternal activity, knowing that that's what you're doing. And finding that loving relationship. Sometimes, people think that what this is a religion. This is not a religion. We are simply glorifying God in the way that our spiritual master has taught us is the most pleasing. But that doesn't mean that you can't do this in some other way. It is your relationship with God that is eternal. Glorify God. Serve God. Dedicate your life to God. Devote your being, your breath, your life breath, everything you are, to Him. And you will discover who you really are, who you've always been, and who you will always be. Haribo, thank you. Are there any questions? I guess not. We should chant. I'm sorry? Yes, we'll do the 8 prayers.